Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm actually just going to be straight up streaming some Hearthstone. Going to be playing Ranked. So I'm actually a super low rank right now, I'm not going to lie. Reason being, the last season I didn't really play a whole bunch of the game. But I figured we're pre-packs, I want to kind of take it easy, show off some of the weird decks that I've been building, and kind of take it from there. So, couple decks I've been playing a lot of lately. Oh, looks like we're having a bit of a... Sorry about that, just had the agent close out on me. Guess I'll probably just, this is my first time really streaming the game. I usually run it at high settings, but I'm going to set it to medium, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, and then let me just make sure that my audio levels are all set, and we can go ahead and get started, guys. Alright, so lately I've been playing a couple of different decks. I know Quest Rogue's kind of gone out of popular rotation ever since the nerf, but I've been playing a little bit of that. Also run an Exodia Mage. Honestly, haven't been running a whole lot of games with that one, so I likely won't be showing any of that off. Got this weird Evolve deck that I've been working on, as well as one that focuses on the Uther Death Knight card, and then kind of a weird take on Big Druid. I also have your typical Jade Druid, as well as a kind of Cthulhu Priest. I don't really play that deck anymore, but it's definitely got some stuff going for it. This control deck, I will not be showing off. I actually have to do a lot of tweaks to that, and then Awakenings is just in one of the... it's based on the Death Rattle recipe for priests, for the quest priests back in Agoro. But we're going to be starting off with this Pestilence Big Druid. It's got a lot of ramp to it, a couple of pretty big heavy hitters, and then a lot of cards that generate more cards because it's really designed in such a way where it's intended to kind of survive a long game. It's not really like an aggro deck or anything like that. It's also a little bit less traditional from a control perspective as well, but I got a lot of resources in this deck for like big removal, things like that. So let me turn my phone down here. So as you can see, I run like a naturalized Feral Rage. It's pretty good for big bursts. To be honest, there's a lot of really strong defensive potential in this deck because of the fact that I run a lot of big minions, as well as 2 Earthen Scales and then a bunch of ramp. The reason I mulligan everything is because Crypt Lord is usually better when I have some of the more swarming cards or a turn with multiple. I mean, we're on rank 23, so in all honesty, we're probably not going to be encountering a whole lot of like apt opposition as far as kind of what we'll be looking at here. But that's definitely okay. So we got to start somewhere. Okay. Guys, I encounter a little bit of issue with my music here. Make sure that's not too loud. Come on, buddy. What are we doing here? See, like, already next turn I'm going to be in a pretty good position to be able to play, like, my Bone Drake, and then I'll be able to follow that up with, like, a Coin Lich King. So, you know, this deck's designed to move pretty fast. Yeah, I realized if the guy had a little bit more early game, I might have been in trouble, but that's also why this deck's got a lot of really solid removal, too. So, as solid as removal can be for a druid. Okay, that's cool. Oh, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to Wrath this for the draw and then swipe it. I know that seems like kind of a pretty twitchy way to use like a swipe, but I've got a feeling about this guy, so I'm just kind of gonna put the pressure on. Next turn, hopefully I'll be able to play the Lich King, unless he drops something problematic like that last one. Yeah, see, so in the list of cards that nobody plays anymore, right? I drop that Lich King. Yeah, well, thanks, buddy. See, I've got a Savage Roar and an Anti-Magic Shell, so I'm thinking my plan is to just load up the board with these three, and then take this guy out and push for face, because then I can set up a 2-turn lethal, I think. Yeah, with an additional... It's something, that's for sure. I mean, of course, there is also the off chance that he starts milling my cards. Okay, guys, this is going to be a big one. Heating Banshee. Why not? So, I've been... Oh, okay, well... Alright, so, you caught on to that, and that's okay too. And this really puts me in a great spot. You know what we do? Is we naturalize this. And hope that we don't lose Malfurion. There we go. See, we only burned one decent card. Yeah, so, I've been kind of wanting to address some of the, like, video content that I wanted to do, but I don't feel like I really have time to do full videos for. Like, for instance, I was honestly working during the big Smash Bros. Announcement, and I definitely was hoping to kind of have something to weigh in as far as that goes, in a few different ways. Um, see, these are the types of cards that like people get in packs, and they're so excited to have cards that aren't the basic ones that they just rush to throw stuff in decks. And this is really my punishment for not playing more last season. But that's okay, because we got this under control, guys. Because even if he shapeshifts into this, we're still in position to really kind of load up on attack next turn. In fact, what I could potentially do is, like, Savage Roar Anti-Magic Shell is the plan right now. In addition to that, I can still Earthen Scales and then Shapeshift. Come on with the Spreading Plague. Like the one card you run that's actually something people play. How about... No. Oh, wait. No. Yeah, whatever. Well, if he can't clear that out, then we probably don't even need the Savage Roar. So he might just concede this turn unless he has a really big play. Or somehow more taunt. Oh, there's that somehow more taunt I was talking about. But I can assure you that that's not going to do the trick. Bro, I got lethal without playing anything at this point. Yeah, I get it. It's rank 23, but I'm still allowed to be happy about this. Nice. Yeah, so, as I mentioned, PAX coming up. So, I'll be up probably 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, so I won't be on here long. But I figured again in a couple of matches, kind of test everything out. I haven't really had a chance to stream Hearthstone yet. This is a little bit makeshift, that's why I'm using my webcam mic instead of my actual mic also. But that's okay, because it's the game. That's what we're here for, right? I'm gonna actually shrink down the chat a little bit. Or maybe drop it over here. We're learning as we go, people. So this gives me some good early game tempo. Still allows me the opportunity to work on my ramp, and because of the fact that the loot hoarders will keep drawing stuff by the time the ramp is complete, I'll have some pretty big minions to play. I don't think I've seen a quest druid since I was running one. Which was for like the first week after Ungoro came out, pretty much I think a year ago at this point. Actually, when Ungoro first came out, I was participating in a tournament on my campus, and like the tournament was slated for that day. We didn't know exactly how the rules were going to work, and then they announced the release date, and it ended up being that like the standard rotation took place, and pretty much everybody, had to build brand new decks just for the tournament with cards in a meta that just didn't exist yet. So that was kind of funny. Yeah, nobody was taking it too seriously. It's, you know, a campus game. It's all fun.
Beetleberries, my favorite.
I know it seems like I've got a bit of a hodgepodge happening here as far as minions go. I've got like Saronite, Chain Gang, and Bone Drake and whatnot, but you know, honestly, I've always been a firm believer in this game that it's just best to play the cards that you really enjoy. You know, like at the end of the day, so long as your deck has a solid framework. I mean, obviously, you want minions that are going to provide you with value, but value is kind of defined by the goal of the deck, right? Like mine is mostly made for you know, surviving for long periods of time, and it's worked out for me, honestly, in that I've been able to survive a lot of those horrifying Kingsbane decks, like the new Milrogue. There's Malfurion. I know that's a lot of damage, but there was nearly nothing else in here that I could... I mean, I could go for the ramp into Primordial Drake, but I still would have ended up taking a lot of damage. And I'm going to drop 2 taunts probably this next turn. I don't know, actually. I feel like this is going to be a little bit more situational. What's he going to play for 7? Why is he still running Innervate post-nerf? These are the important questions, guys. Okay. Mirror match. I'm all good with that. In fact, anything you can do, I can do better. Only thing, he's got the quest, so we're on a clock. And obviously, this is going to be a little bit less of a long game than it would be against a Kingsbane Rogue or something like that. You know, ideally speaking, I'm now at the 8 mana mark, so this is going to be used to draw later on. But I'm hoping to be able to... Come on, guys. Is this the life that I'm destined to live? Alright, we can turn this around. As of right now, he's still got to drop 3 more big minions with 8 mana, so depending on how his deck's built. Which I can't say feels like it's built well, unless this is like one of those Malagos combo decks, because otherwise it really doesn't make sense why he's got cards like Moonfire, and there was another one that he played before that was just ridiculous that I don't think I've seen in forever. Oh, Innervate. Like, why? What's this dude doing? Mirror match, right? Oh. Oh, are we not doing the whole Happy New Year thing? This is my bad. Boy, oh boy. He's only got to play one more big minion before he gets Barnabas. Oh, and he gets to play Barnabas this turn, too. But that's okay, guys, because I got the push. Ideally, I could draw into swipe, and that would be pretty clutch. Okay, so we go this. We go this. Because now we're pushing for damage. We go this. Is our Lich King valuable enough to risk him getting 2 cards in his hand after playing Barnabas? Unless he's got something with charge, Lich King's gonna survive, and he's really big right now, so I don't want to run the risk. Sorry, bro. Now, if he can just buff my guy over here, my Druid of the Claw, that's cool too. It's really not, because now he's probably going to kill my Lich King, which is still going to give me lethal on board, but he's got a bunch of 0-cost minions, probably some of which are Malagos, right? I don't know. But he's looking for that taunt. You know he's fishing for it. Oh. 2 with Divine Shield. Are those not the 0 costs? Bro, what did I just draw you? Stop. Oh, that's bad. That's really rough. How? So, like, why run a quest druid, like a big, beast druid, or a Barnabas druid, or the giant deck, that's what it's called. But the cards that you have once you play Barnabas aren't really big enough to either protect you or make a difference. Like, I don't know, man. Here's to hoping we get some... We can just keep up this win streak. Because ideally, I'd like to send myself off in a fairly decent rank. Oh, you know what? Also, that just got me my my season chest, didn't it? What is happening with my tunes here? Oh, I'm turned down way too loud. I mean, these are obviously not good, but these friends are great. Where are these two? Oh man, Malgarok. Or Malkarok, sorry. Now we're talking. Stonehill into Lich King. Please. I feel like pushing aggro damage on what's likely some sort of armor warrior isn't going to be very helpful for me, but I don't want to miss out on doing anything this turn if he's got a big turn 4. Trying to think of what sort of big turn 4 pushes a warrior might have, besides like Cacron Elite and right, Blood Razor. See what I'm saying, guys? Could have took some face damage there. Though now I've just kind of given him something to work with as far as his weapon goes. Let's make it a little bit more of a sacrifice for him to even go for that swing. That's right. Is he gonna... Oh, what'd I say? I knew he had him. I guess he just... went into him. See, I figured this was gonna be some type of, like, Armor Warrior deck. Well, I wonder if I'm just too low in the ranks right now for people to be building, like, specific, like, synergy decks. And if these are just kind of people playing the classes they like, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I used to do a lot, too. Okay, well, that's loud. Okay, so the next play is to... YOLO. Is this what we're doing now? Okay. Well, now I wish I had saved Sarnite Chain Gang. I'm sorry, what was that? Is there a Cthulhu in this deck? I mean, if he's got cards like that in his deck, he probably doesn't have a whole lot going, so it's okay for us to just keep going for that push. Unless he somehow is running Cthulhu, I mean, it's a free card, so he might be, but it seems to me like this deck might be doing a little bit too much. Let's do this. This could be my downfall, but I'm confident enough that we could just naturalize this. And go for the push. There's a method to my madness. Because if even one of those guys is left on the board, we still can just win the game next turn. Unless he has like a tank up or something. Or not tank up, you know what I'm saying. Y'all ready for some clutch action? You're kidding. Is that... No, that's exactly lethal. No, it's not. Is it? No, I'm one off. Wow. You're kidding. So this could go either way. He could just load himself up with armor, shut me down right then and there, or it could be the way we actually expect it to go, and he could just concede here. He could just concede here. Concede here. Thank you. Yes, I know. Excellent. Thank you. See, guys, we're getting there. I mean, it's only the 4th day of the month, so you'd figure there'd be, like, some people in the lower ranks who just didn't play a lot last season, like me, you know? But, yes, which I'm not saying that I'm, like, rocking elite numbers here. I think the highest rank I've hit is 10. But I know that there's got to be some method to the way you build your deck, and it cannot be Cthulhu Taunt Beast's armor. That's not anything. How about we keep everything except the Lich King? Oh, and I really, really lost this train of thought, but I know I was mentioning a little bit about Smash Bros. Earlier. Now, I don't know if you guys recall, but I was one of the people who, over the summer, during like my E3 coverage and everything like that, I was pretty adamant that there was not going to be a Smash Bros. Announcement, and that if there was going to be one, okay, this is some sort of elemental mage, I'm sure. If there was going to be a new Smash, that it was going to be a port and not a brand new game. I mean, I was like halfway right. They didn't announce it at E3, which, why would they? Well, I guess no, I take that back, because now we're kind of coming to realize that. Sorry, I'm trying to think of how I want to approach this. I mean, she's gonna ping this, so that's not good. If I play it like this, then what I can do is I can either swipe next turn, or not next turn, if it feels really extreme, like I need to get rid of the Sorcerer's Apprentice, or I can drop the Druid of the Claw with Taunt. I can coin that out. Though if I swipe this, and then I could coin out this next turn. Or I could just drop Saronite Chain Gang, and they can save the day. Thank you, friendo. Anyway, I was right, there wasn't a Smash announced at E3, but obviously if you were watching the Direct, you saw they announced a new one, and that Inklings are going to be playable. I feel as though the way that it was displayed, it's like pretty certainly going to be a brand new game. Now, to kind of take into account what that might mean, I mean, people are already speculating what that sort of spells for the series as a whole. I know I personally, I'm like, I have things that I would like to see in the game. I'm not really holding my breath on a lot of it, particularly because of the fact that, some of the series that I like have had kind of a weird timeline following the release of Smash 4, particularly like Xenoblade, for instance. Ideally, I would like to see a character like Lyn or Elma from Xenoblade X, in addition to whoever they add from Xenoblade 2. But I think the Wii U is a chapter in Nintendo's history that they're really trying to kind of make a transition from. And so it almost feels impossible that they would add characters from both games. I'm going to take care of you right now. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of the characters that I've wanted are the same ones that I've wanted since the last game. And even before that, Isaac from Golden Sun, I feel like was a pretty obvious pick. Golden Sun was a pretty big part of Nintendo's identity during a crucial formative time of their, handheld market, which, as we know from the 3DS and from the fact that their new console was a handheld, it's taken up a lot of their kind of, their market share over the last decade or so. So I was hoping to see characters like Isaac. One that I knew was a reach that I really wanted was Takamaru from Murasame Castle. That's honestly not a game that I've even played, but it feels like it would be a pretty good fit. Because, it was just another one of those classic games that Nintendo made. And I feel like more and more Smash Bros. Has become a celebration of their identity as a company. That's why, I mean, there aren't exactly new Duck Hunt titles rolling around, but we've seen, Duck Hunt as a playable character. Pac-Man, for instance, is not a name carrying the same amount of weight. that it used to, but that doesn't mean that we're not still seeing, Pac-Man in the most recent Smash. So, timeline I feel like it's only important with the franchises that are still active. Like a Pokemon or Fire Emblem or something like that. Especially the ones with like the alternating casts, which really makes it tough. That's another thing. The Fire Emblem representation. I mean, like, if you would have told me 4-ish years ago that Fire Emblem was going to be taking up some of the most character slots in a given Smash game, yeah, I would have laughed in your face like that's crazy. Now, I almost wish we could turn back because the sort of popularity of the Fire Emblem series um, has lent itself to some poor decision making, in my opinion. And that's not to say that like the old games are pure and all that sort of stuff, because I don't really agree with that side of the fan base either. I think it's important to note that, first of all, whether you like it or not, Fire Emblem Awakening brought the series back from the brink of death. Second of all, it had a whole ton of incredible design choices. It had really good visuals. It had awesome characters. Sure, the story was a little bit generic, but it was a generic story that was made to feel heartfelt because of the nature of all the characters that were in it. So that's totally okay. I think one thing that I definitely took issue with was more so the transition from Fire Emblem Fates into sort of the I'm sorry, Awakening into Fates is what I was thinking of. Now, I know a lot of people really liked Fates. I did not. I felt like mechanically it was probably the best Fire Emblem game to date, but everything else made it almost unbearable to play. You could feel kind of this aura of like the newer philosophy of these games having a real like influence on the overall quality of this one. Um, for instance, like the whole support thing. Like, it was really, really cool how they weaved it into the storyline of Awakening. I liked that they kind of focus in on this whole, there's time travel. Time travel's part of the game. So we'll make, the future children kind of a key focus of it. A character like Lucina, who's like a super important plot point, that really works well. And kind of making her story feel more real, seeing her interact with other people who were part of the same timeline as her, and then some people who weren't. Now, Fates, they had to shoehorn it in. They're like, oh, everybody loved, breeding their units together, so that's kind of what we're going to make, a key focal point in this game as well. And I'm not necessarily saying that the mechanics should have gone away, I'm just saying that the way that it felt shoehorned into the story made it feel like pandering. And when there's obvious pandering happening, it feels like they don't really trust us as an audience. That's definitely not something that I'm super into. I mean, also, so don't get me wrong. I'm in no way naive to the fact that fan service, for instance, is not something that Fire Emblem's ever strayed away from. And I don't think that that's ever really been an issue for me. Again, it's not the type of stuff that I'm into, but it doesn't really create an issue in most settings within the game. That being said, um, the shape that it takes in the likes of like Fire Emblem Heroes, the mobile game, and then the even Warriors on the Switch and the new 3DS, like it's a bit much. And it's super funny to me because I remember, like, and this was like years ago that I said this. I was like, oh man, Fire Emblem Warriors is something that needs to happen. As soon as they confirmed Hyrule Warriors, that was my first thing, was like, oh, if they're going to do these Nintendo-style Warriors games, then we've definitely got to see one for Fire Emblem. And the overall quality of the game was there. I'm not saying that it was a bad game by any stretch. It's just that the overall shape it took still kind of had that feeling that it was like pandering to the audiences that are more so fans of the new games. even down to the fact that, like, of all the characters to return, for instance, like, we had Lynn, you know, who's a fan favorite, and I'm definitely glad to see her, but I was disappointed that characters like, you know, Erica and people from Sacred Stones weren't represented. So that was essentially a really long-winded tangent to say that I realized that Fire Emblem's probably going to play a big role in the overall result of the new Smash game. It's just not something that I'm as excited about as I would have been, you know, back when the series first started gaining popularity. What are we up to here? Another Ice Berry. Interesting. I think what we do here, actually, is come at this guy. Yeah, we're drop a Bright-Eyed Scout, why not? Ooh, look at that Lich King. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yes. You do your thing. Keep your friend. Oh, that was an Ice Block. Well, could have just pushed lethal there, but had to play it safe. You know what else was stupid? Is actually that I just really... Oh, is that Knocking Fogger? Great. This is good stuff, guys. What face? I don't care. Anything you trade into is just gonna kill ya. Okay, and that's game. Thank you, sir. Insult to injury a little bit. Not big on BMing, but we're this low in the ranks, you know? That had to stay. Anyway, back to the Smash Bros. Stuff. Yes, I'm definitely really hoping that we get some additional Xenoblade representation, particularly from both games. Look, I'm not even gonna front. If I had to pick anybody, it probably wouldn't be Rex. I think he is like the quintessential generic protagonist. And let me say this much. Xenoblade Chronicles, the original, is my favorite game of all time. And I've said it, you know, a bunch of times on stream, and I'll say it again. But to think about how much I enjoyed that game, and for me to make the statement that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is, in every sense of the word, you know, a proper sequel to that game. So, I absolutely love Xenoblade 2. But, just because it's a great game does not mean that it doesn't have flaws. And just because we love the series does not mean that we shouldn't take an actual look at the flaws of that game. You know, particularly... Rex as a character is like painfully generic, and you know, people felt like Shulk was kind of a do-gooder. That I don't really understand when the whole thing starts off as kind of this aggressive revenge quest. Yeah, and I'm definitely not going to go into like spoilers while I'm streaming Hearthstone, but you know, I don't think that really applies to Shulk. But Rex, oh my god, like, oh, I want to end all wars. Like, what about a character who just kind of leads them to have that level of motivation, you know, without any sort of inciting incident or anything? You know, it's not even remotely believable. And then, of course, there's the controversial subject of the character designs. I don't know whether my opinion falls under popular or unpopular. Don't particularly care. I think the character designs are absolutely ridiculous. You know, particularly Pyra, for instance. Like, I in no way feel as though I'm able to take her character seriously based on the way she looks. She is, by design, supposed to be this ancient, immortal blade, you know, who's got all of these experiences beyond what we could possibly fathom as people, and then we get that probably wasn't the right play. We get a look at her, and she's just wearing this stupid outfit, and I don't care that, like, look, I don't think it's an issue. I don't think the game is necessarily abashed in any way about, you know, its overt sexuality. I think it feels weird and out of place, but at the very least, it's equal opportunity, and so that I'm okay with. But in the context of Pyra, it's just the design itself is so ridiculously stupid that there have been moments in the game where she's legitimately having a serious moment, and I've either like shook my head in frustration or just straight up started laughing because she looks so stupid, you know. And maybe it's the particularly just like the area of open skin between like her waist and her chest. It doesn't look like clothing. It's absolutely I don't even know how to describe it, but it does not look like clothing. You know. Yeah. That being said, otherwise, like there are a lot of great parts about that game, and one of them, which would be my actual character pick for Smash, is Nia. Like I don't think there's any argument whatsoever as to who the best character in the game is. It's Nia, and I won't spoil a lot of like the stuff related to what makes her really cool, but she's really freaking cool. All right, but now outside of all the Weeb games that I've talked about, who else would I like to see in Smash? Oh, here's one that I feel like a lot of people haven't really mentioned anything about. I would like to see a new class of Mii Fighter. Probably something to do with like magic or whatever. I feel like all the Mii Fighter classes are pretty obviously based on other characters within the games. Like the Brawler tends to draw a lot from like I think characters like Mario and Kirby and stuff like that. You know, I would like to. Oh, look at that. That'll be really good for like a last ditch thing, but depending on what kind of deck this guy is playing, we might be hard pressed to see a bunch of minions on board. Given that he's got a handful of cards and 7 mana and hasn't played anything, he's probably setting up for a combo. I hope. Or his deck just has too many big cards. Or her. I don't know. Anyway, a new class of Mii Fighter, I would say, would be really, really cool. I think, a lot of people kind of scoffed at the Mii Fighters because they weren't that great. But I was saying, like, the templates that they're based on. So you've got the Brawler, who's very clearly inspired by, like, Mario. And then you've got the Sword Fighter, who takes inspiration from the likes of Link and Marth and those characters, down to even having the counter built into his moveset. And then you've got the Gunner, obviously inspired by Mega Man, Samus, people like that. Maybe now we'll see some like Inkling related moves. I mean, I know they had an Inkling outfit. But for like a magic wielder, we've already got a template for that as well. Somebody like, come on, somebody like Zelda or Palutena. Palutena. It's rough, man. I was really excited for her character when the game first came out, and honestly, I feel like Palutena is one of those weird characters where, now look, I won't say, that I'm great at Hearthstone or whatever, but when it comes to Smash, I know my stuff. And Palutena is one of those characters who, like, when it comes to her standard moves and her smash attacks and things like that, she's really, really fun to use. But her default special moves are hot garbage. And then she has, like, all the different ones that you can swap out. If you make a good custom Palutena, if you, sometimes, like, we'll play, me and my brothers will play, like, no custom parts, but custom moves, like that sort of thing. Palutena, in that context, is in my opinion, one of the better characters, at least for my playstyle. She's got a lot of really cool range moves, things like that. I mean, Zelda, I don't even have to really explain. Like, in the new game, she wasn't that great. But, back in the day, I used to rock it with Zelda, especially in Brawl, which I know is, like, a curse word for this fandom. I'm confused. Is this deck all removal, or are there minions? Well, I guess these are minions, but yeah, I'm saying. I'm gonna steal from you. Ah, that's lame. Guys, do you think now that I've played Malfurion, I can draw into the Dream? And do I want to armor up? Yes, I do. Come on. God, I really wanted the Frostmourne. But I'm wondering if Frostmourne has like a lower likelihood of showing up than other Death Knight cards, or if they all have an equal chance. Because I know, like, the two cards that I've seen the least, and I know, with one of them having already shown up on stream is probably not the most convincing, but, like, I very rarely see Anti-Magic Shell and then Frostmourne. I usually end up with, like, an Obliterate or a Doom Pact. Which, Doom Pact, don't get me wrong, I can get you out of some sticky situations, too. But like I was saying, like a Zelda or Palutena or Ness-inspired magic-wielding Mii fighter would be really cool. Other characters. Oh. I mean, anything's possible now, right? We got Cloud and Bayonetta in the last game, so I would put in a vote for Sans. Which I know is like the worst thing you can say if you want people to keep on watching. But that's okay, because I like Undertale. It's a really good game. And I think now that Undertale's coming out for Switch, and it's probably got some of the highest demand, at the very least, out of any of the, like, indie games that we'll be seeing on Switch in the near future. Alright, we're gonna close this guy out. My favorite. Ooh! Y'all see that? Leroy Lethal? Coming up next turn. I got this. So, the play is... takes out one of these guys, leaves this one probably. Or takes out this one because it's got more utility and he wants to drop something big. Either way, got something on board that gets +2 from Savage War. I'll also be dropping Leroy, and then I'll be using Death Coil. So, Leroy, what is this? 8, 10, 15. So, if there's anything else on board of mine, and he doesn't drop a taunt, do not play with me, boy. Oh, is this a... what's he got for me? Oh, man. That's game, people. Sorry, I really, like, kind of distracted talking about the Smash stuff, and this guy looked like he was about to get a leg up on me. Sorry, like, we got a whole big audience happening here, but I imagine, at some point this will be viewed on YouTube, I can only hope. Now, where was I? Oh, I was saying characters beyond Mii fighters. Oh, Sans was one that I said. I think. Now, a lot of people are really pulling for King K. Rool. I honestly, like, I've always been a big Donkey Kong fan. And I'm saying a big Donkey Kong fan. Like, I watched the cartoon, which I wouldn't recommend for anyone to put themselves through, unless you like really good content and beautiful singing. No, but like I've always been a big fan of Donkey Kong, and this past summer actually was the first time that I got the opportunity to play the original Donkey Kong Country games through 1 and 2, and yeah, I can see why King K. Rool is a big pick for people, but my pipe dream would be to see somebody from Donkey Kong 64 return, likely like Tiny or Lanky or somebody like that. And I realize that that's also not likely, so I would honestly settle for someone like Dixie or Cranky. Probably not both, but one or the other. At this stage of the game, I know he's one of the original 8, so it's really hard to expect that Nintendo would do anything to kind of mix it up. But I wouldn't mind seeing Donkey Kong's moveset get updated a little bit also. Perhaps something that references his coconut gun, or, because it fires and spurts. Anyway, that's sort of what I was thinking for Donkey Kong. For Mario, I don't really want any more Mario characters, but I wouldn't mind seeing Mario get an overhaul as well. It looks like that's what's going to happen. I imagine that a lot of his moves are going to be replaced with, like, capping-related things. I hope it doesn't get too ridiculous. We've already got one character who's stealing everybody's powers. I'm looking at you, Kirby. So, we don't really need two of those. I'm trying to think. This is a tough one. Because honestly, like, I feel like I got everything I could have asked for with the last game. I ended up getting really into Kid Icarus, and then all of a sudden Dark Pit and Palutena were playable. I was already big into Fire Emblem, and then we got, we got Robin, who, by the way, and I guess there's no way to really convince people to believe me when I say this, but I'm telling you, my brother and I had the conversation before he was even announced. I said, rather than Chrom, I would like to see the Avatar character. He already has a name and everything. So, Robin was another one that I called. So, I was definitely hyped about that. I watched that trailer like 8 times that same day. So that was pretty big. And then Lucina, who's probably my favorite character in the whole franchise. And then on top of that, we had characters like I wasn't into Xenoblade at all when Shulk was announced. But when they announced they were porting that game to the 3DS, so I won't say I wasn't into it at all. I had never played it. I remember back when, I believe it was Project Rainfall. It was for Pandora's Tower, the last story, I think. No, it was Pandora's Tower, Xenoblade, and then one other JRPG. Let me actually Google this, because that's going to bug me. But you guys know what I'm talking about. It was Operation Rainfall. It was the last story. It was Xenoblade, the last story, and then Pandora's Tower. And all 3 of those games were, like, held under ironclad security, protecting them from us Western players. And so a lot of people set out to really kind of inspire the porting of those games, or the localization rather. And I remember when Xenoblade was one of them. I remember like following it and thinking that it looked really cool with a lot of its huge, vast environments, a lot of stuff that in the end ended up being like some of my favorite parts of the game still. Also, wow, this guy's got to do something fast because next turn's lethal. Anyway, so unfortunately it hit a point where, like, I was a kid when that was happening, so I didn't have a job or money or anything, so I couldn't buy the game. And then eventually it became like $100, $200 to get a hold of it, anywhere local. And then at that point, I was like, okay, you know what, I'm just good on this. I'm not going to even bother myself with it. Now, the overall, when they announced that it was coming to... That's really rough that I just got those 2 death coils, too. When it was announced that it was coming to the 3DS, the new 3DS, I was like, okay, I was going to buy this console anyway, because my old 3DS was, like, dying, like, my old control pad had been torn off or whatever. This deck's really doing it for me today. Yeah, my like analog thing had been torn off. It was running super slow. It had like a bunch of scratches and everything like that. So finally, I was like, oh, you know what? They announced this new 3DS. It's got a C-stick, so I'm gonna be able to rock the house and smash and everything. And then they announced that there was going to be the Xenoblade port, and I was like, oh, you know what? Now's as good a time as any. I knew I wanted to play it a couple of years ago. Now's a good chance to try. And I was really bored through like the first 2 hours of the game, and then I think, actually, if I'm being completely honest, the point of the game where I really like got super into it was when you get to Alchemoth for the first time, which is where the High Entia live, and all of a sudden the game becomes Game of Thrones. or whatever, and I was super into like the sort of high fantasy political family stuff that was taking place. This is a tough one. Depending on what, if he just drops the other elemental, I will go Wild Growth into Chain Gang. Oh, not even the elemental. Is this another one of those decks that's going to look like it has synergy, and then when we get deeper into the match, it actually doesn't? Because if he doesn't drop anything else this turn, I'm actually just going to coin out Elise. Okay, so is this going to be 4 elementals? Bro, why are you playing Firefly and not dropping the elementals? What's happening here? I guess he might be trying to get like the early... Oh, never mind. Okay, so it's Chain Gang then. No, but it was once I got to Alchemoth that the game really took off for me. And then after that, it got crazy, you know, and it never slowed down again, in my opinion. And you know, by the end of it, I was like, okay, you know, I'd heard a bunch of people like Chaka Conroy and people that I watched on YouTube. They were like, oh, Xenoblade is my favorite game of all time. I'm like, okay, well, oh, interesting. Oh, not good. Did you just trade 3? I'm sorry. Why? Bro. Why would you go wide like that and then just rush everything in, you know? Speaking of going wide, do I want to go with this or this? So, nah, it's Senjin. Tastingo. Yeah. So that way I don't have to coin out Malfurion. Maybe that wasn't the right play. Anyway, you know, a lot of the people that I watched on YouTube had been talking about how Xenoblade was their favorite game. And I was like, oh, okay, like, it was something that I was interested in for a while, but I didn't imagine that it was going to be something that, like, revolutionary and groundbreaking for me. Ooh, wait a sec. Nah. You know why? Because it's going to take some pretty big removal to deal with these two. And if I dropped this, there's a very real possibility that one of these is either a Frozen Clone or Explosive Runes or something that I don't really want Primordial Drake to have to deal with. Though it is a high health fella. No. Well, okay, so if it's Explosive Rune, cool. If it's the other one that I literally just said. Oh, Frozen Clone. If it's Frozen Clone, that I'm not excited about. But if it's Frozen Clone, Bone Drake might be just slow enough, and if it's Explosive Rune, I only take 1 damage. And I got Scaled Nightmare. Now, I'm sorry, I wanted to get back into what I was saying. I lost my train of thought a little bit there. Because I think this is finally going to put me over to rank 20, guys. Ooh, it's 10:45, so this will probably be the last game that I do on stream for the night. And then I'm going to upload this to YouTube, and we're all just going to have a great time. Now, I don't want to lose what I was saying, I'm sorry. It was about, oh, yeah, Xenoblade being great, which I've made hours upon hours of video content about that. Anyway, Smash characters. Now, I was saying all the great things that happened for me as far as, like, Smash Wii U and 3DS go. I think the only thing that I was really disappointed about was that, so Zelda and Sheik were my main as one character. I'm really not good at having them separate because I could never seal the deal with Sheik, and I could never rack up damage with Zelda. So I really like to have, both of the utility of both of them to work with. I don't ever foresee them returning those characters to being just one character. Um, if they were to do that with anyone, the only person I could imagine would be Zero Suit. Um, because we all know, kind of the truth behind what their approach was with that. The whole, oh man, we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to focus on one playstyle. No, you want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to play a game that doesn't, lag itself to death because of the fact that. Why did I do that? Well, sorry, Elise. Also, it's time to start paying attention to my health because I'm getting low there. No. Um, I was talking about. I'm sorry. Whenever something like that happens, I kind of lose my train of thought there. The separate characters. Yeah, it was a technical issue. It was all about that 3DS version, which I realize isn't a secret to anybody at this point. I just like when Nintendo's like, or I guess in this case, Sakurai. It's like, oh, if we just tell them like, oh, this is the reasoning behind kind of our approach to this, it kind of lightens the blow of having characters that have been in the series for the past decade be wiped from the game. No. In the context of Ice Climbers, it wasn't that big of a deal for me. I know for a lot of people it definitely mattered. Um, but the 3DS version, think about a character like Olimar, who was substantially nerfed, partially because there were some broken components to Olimar and Brawl. I'm not denying that. It's just I feel like the technical demand of having 6 or 7 Pikmin running behind him, I don't remember exactly how many, that amount of Pikmin running behind him versus... how about... Here's what we're going to do. We're going to draw a card. And I'm going to swipe this dude's face. And I'm going to drop this Jade. Whatever. Yeah, but the demands of the amount of Pikmin that were following Olimar, I think, had a much bigger effect overall on the decision to nerf him than anything else did. Yeah, I still stand by Kid Icarus Uprising being one of the best 3DS games, and so if the decision were made to add more characters from that, I honestly would be pretty excited about it. Okay. So we're not in a great position here. How about this? I realize that he's not super big, and I also realize that these are the exact amount of damage he would need to take this out. But I really need to draw into some big opportunities here. Ideally, something like a Lich King or my Ungoro pack would be really cool. Also, that sucks. I mean, it would suck if I were worried about it. But we ain't never scared. Do we need to be coining people out now? What's up? Yeah, we're gonna do it. This is the part where he just concedes because my unwavering spirit gives him a sense of fear that he's never felt before. That, or, and this is like equally good, I draw into Nourish and can get a couple cards. Look, this isn't great. I'm not going to pretend that this is an awesome situation that I'm in. In fact, it's so unawesome that I might concede. On the bright side, that's the case. It's really sad, but it's still the case. Ah, man. Um, so here's the deal. I know I said I want to go to bed, and that's true, because I do want to make sure I'm up in time. I'm actually, instead of driving, I'm going to be taking the bus to and from PAX, because Boston traffic. But my plans here, got 2 wins left before I can hit rank 20. And I realized that that's not a huge milestone, but when I decide to come back and stream again, maybe tomorrow to decompress about PAX, who knows, I would like to be able to come into some actual people playing synergistic decks. So, what we're going to do is, instead of this kind of methodical, slow, groovy deck that did just win me a bunch of games, albeit against lower ranked players, we're going to play something a little bit more aggressive and see if we can wrap up 2 wins real quick. Oh, and it's a hunter. Clearly somebody had the same frame of thinking. Ooh. What's happening here? So no conceding. I'm all about getting 2 packs. Oh, wow. Guys, this is a quest hunter. This is the only quest hunter, I think. I'm not gonna pretend, guys. If I lose to this person, it's gonna be very embarrassing. And he's already starting off with the big tempo plays here. Like, bro, this isn't gonna go the way you want it to. Though, if I'm being real here... Oh, is this what you want to be doing? I'll just drop the... Whoa. Y'all. The only reason I used the coin is because I didn't want to mill myself. I don't know why I played that Mimic Pod when I did, but I guess it was for the best because 3 Shadow Steps. There's a way to do this that gets me the whole quest done. Like now, and I just need to draw into my other engineer. Or a prep. No, I'm still 1 mana shy. Do I have Fan in this deck? That'd be cool. Ugh, man. Next turn, I'll get the quest, because I'll just use Ferryman, unless I draw into my other engineer. Oh, that's awesome. And that also means I get to save a Shadow Stab, which is cool. Bro, I'm doing the best I can here. Oh, man. So the dream here is prep. Or fan. Really anything at this point. This could go one of two ways. If I draw a prep, I'm just gonna vanish. Well, ain't that a... Oh, man. There's a way to do this. Okay. We can still do this. It's a long shot, but it can still be done. Never mind. Go like a champ. So since this is also lost, this is just gonna be my last game, I think. Yeah, okay, we get it. Thank you. It wasn't because of your stupid quest. Because we had a bunch of tokens and I got really greedy with the engineer there. I'm pretty sure whoever this person spectating is has to watch me win a game. We'll do one more. What if we got weird? Now, disclaimer. It's been a while. This deck is called Rank 10 because the wild version of it actually got me to Rank 10. It's my weird Cthulhu Priest. Another sort of maybe kind of fringe deck, but it's super charming and really fun. So, just to give you an idea of some of like the way that this one works is that it's largely focused around damage and healing, and then because of the fact that it has the cultist that gives Cthulhu +1/+1 for each heal, it's a pretty solid deck overall. And then also I've got Injured Blade Masters, 2 of them, just like the good old days. The good old days before I actually started playing the game, funny enough, but I've seen a lot of tournaments from when injured decks were kind of big. That was not the move. Get out of your stupid tokens. Oh, wait. You know what? So, admittedly, Paladin is not a deck that I've come across a lot, but it's a lot. I've seen a lot of it in like highlight videos and stuff. So I do realize that there is like a pretty viable Silverhand Recruit type deck that focuses on providing them with Divine Shield and then using the Light Fuse Stegodon, things like that. If he drops another token, what I'm gonna do is trade this fella, drop my Blade Master here, and then circle myself into 3 really good cards. Hopefully one of them being Cthulhu. I mean, it's not necessarily that having Cthulhu early on is better, it's just that because I'm trying to make this a really quick one. Give me them 3 cards. Oh yeah. Oh, come on. Who would get the Acolyte right afterwards, right? And this guy gets a boost. Why did I do that one? Sometimes I'm a little impulsive in this game, and I know for a lot of people that makes them cringe, because I realize there's a lot of, like, methodical thinking and stuff to Hearthstone. Obviously, I understand how that works. I've been playing the game for a long time. That's not cool. That's really not cool. Like, big man over here with his fancy equality. Out of context, it's probably not a great thing that I just said. I know the Cabal Courier feels kind of out of place in a deck like this, but when a new expansion comes out, I just get really excited about it, and I want to try out all the cards that we'll be seeing a lot of, because I watch a lot of highlight videos and stuff, and I know things are going to be, bigger, but it's kind of hard to participate sometimes in a new expansion. Especially if you're a budget player like myself, it's the meta kind of ends up being shaped around specific legendaries, and if it's not a class that you play or you use like your early dust amount to kind of craft cards that seem more interesting and fun to you, you might end up kind of falling out of the core aspects of the meta. Now, for me, the whole faction thing seemed really awesome. So, like this card was. Obviously, it's a rare, so it's not something that I had to work really hard to get my hands on. But I know that it sometimes has a really high chance of spawning, like Kazakus, for instance, who seemed really interesting, who I really wanted to get a chance to play. Obviously in a deck like this, Kazakus isn't as likely to be even remotely viable because of the fact that okay, relax, buddy. You're just going to get deaths anyway. Unless I draw into Nova, which would be awesome. Quick update, did not draw into Nova. But that's okay. Because Cthulhu's still getting buffed, buddy. So this Doomcaller here too. This deck really operates in phases, too, because, you're usually going to cycle through Cthulhu more than once, which gives you the opportunity to drop, like, a medium-sized one to help you keep control of the board, and then a larger one to close out the game. And when I say larger, I mean, like, a really big Cthulhu. We'll save that. This could be weird. Oh no, that was stupid. That was a bad move, because now he's just gonna swing at this Acolyte. That's okay. Oh, never mind. Oh, that was my bad. This is actually his first time playing Hearthstone. No, that's actually a fair move because... No, it's not. Actually, I don't understand why you would do that. Also, wow, +1/+1. Okay. Yeah, that's something. Look, this is something I'm gonna have to deal with, but that's okay, because I have a plan. Always. And now this is where I get Jiraxis. Okay, relax with the drawing. Says the guy who played. That's not good. So there's a version of this where I win, ready? And it is the Akanai that I have in here. I can Nova Akanai Circle if I draw into it. In the meantime, $15, $18, $20, $24. Dead. Thanks, bro. Oh, man. So, the lesson that we've learned here is you Nova early, you Nova often. Sorry to my friend that was counting on me. It's probably like, hey, you're a lost cause. But that's okay, because... Guys, we're going to go back to the lab again on this one. One last try. It's a pride thing now. You can count on me, Philoxy. I got you covered. That's a solid ramp, though. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna keep that Nourish. We don't need Malfurion, though. Malfurion might have been better than Swipe, and it might have helped us keep better tempo throughout the later portions of the game. Are you gonna do this to me? Am I gonna have to start off dealing with... I feel like... Okay, so... Straight up, Divine Shield... Probably the most obnoxious keyword in the game. Like, obviously, it's not broken or anything. It's super balanced, always has been, but it's definitely annoying. Ooh. Kidnapper. Everyone's dream. Oh, this is for comedy? Is this for... This is for comedy, guys. That was my bad. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, that'd be Luigi for PAX this year. I wore a Luigi hat a couple of years ago with like a darker green shirt, but this year I am just straight up being Luigi. I mean, it's a bit of a different take on the character, but it's Luigi all the same. Okay, so first of all, this is the type of stuff that you just don't do. Hey, I'm playing against a druid. Why don't I drop a bunch of stuff with 1 health? Hey, I got a mage here. It's about to enter turn 7. Why don't I make sure everything keeps 4 health? Like, bro. Also, my music was off for like a bit. I completely forgot. So sorry. I know that seemed like a weird move, but I'm thinking I just want to nourish next turn. I really want to push this guy. Like, I want to pressure him down. He doesn't have a lot of resources in his hand, and I'm pretty sure Shaman doesn't have that much card draw. That being said, I'm going to draw some cards. And then we're probably going to play Chain Gang. Or so next turn, it's going to be, if I can help it, depending on what he plays, probably Chain Gang into Kidnapper. I know Kidnapper is absolute hot garbage, but if I can push... see, like, this is a good place to... He keeps playing... well, yeah, obviously it's Elemental Shaman, so he keeps playing Elementals, but specifically in the context of me trying to... push someone back, I was thinking the Lizard's probably the best one. But if he keeps playing Elementals, then he's just going to get that value right back, and he might even get a better adaptation. Do I have 2 more minions in here that cost that much? Should I even be considering this, is the question. I'm going to keep this guy. So he can't take out all 3 taunts of what he's got on board. So, even if we end up having to just use Savage Roar to get some trades in, or not that, no, what I think I'm going to do is coin, or no, so here's the thing. Here's what we're dealing with. I've got Earthen Scales. I need the Lich King. Primordial Drake's okay here, but I really wanted the Lich King. I'm feeling like this is gonna... we're gonna turn this one around, guys. I know we're low health, but we've got an Earthen Scales. We've got a Bone Drake, so in the worst case scenario... Oh, that's gorgeous. Are you kidding? Guys. People. Ooh. Ooh, he just fed me the nastiest board clear of my whole career, guys. I capture this moment. I feel like that's definitely the point where he concedes this. Come on, Darthdale. You know you don't want to keep going after that one. Ooh, okay. Baron getting it. Why would you even bother summoning the totem at that point? There's no version of this story where this person wins. I'm sorry, like, you'd have to play something ridiculous. You'd have to Deathwing this board to stand a chance. And even then, I've got, like, minimum 1 attack I can survive from Deathwing just off of, Oh, you know what? No, Alakir is a pretty big one. That'll do something. You gonna trade? You gotta trade. Of course you do. Of course you gotta trade. What are you gonna do in a situation like that? I'm just gonna... Oh, yeah, I guess I did have 2 minions that cost more or less. If he starts trading, he's just going to keep drawing me into bigger stuff. If he doesn't, I'm going to Savage Roar and wipe this whole game out. This is the way to win, people. I had to be up in like 7 hours to catch a bus, so I'd really like to... Lich King, thank you. Thank you. God. Also... I'm gonna do a quick insult to injury type groove here, and I'm gonna armor up big time. Now Frostmourne, please. Come on with that. With the Obliterate, I don't need that. I've never once been like, man, I really hope Obliterate comes out of this. Doom Pact I can work with sometimes, you know, but like Obliterate. Good game. If at first you don't succeed, go back to what was working the first time. Or do we not get anything out of that? See, it didn't sound like a familiar quest to me. That might have been when we were supposed to battle each other. Either way, I still have this pack. Oh, or is it just that he gets the 2 packs? That might be what it was. I might have been bamboozled, guys. An epic? What's this? Wow, it's 100 dust. Alright, well, that's game for me for the night. I want to thank you all who are tuning in, and anybody watching on YouTube, just feel free to subscribe. I do a lot of different content on here. Anyway, yeah, that's okay. So, I want to thank everybody for tuning in again. I'm hoping to do something Switch related pretty soon, just to kind of talk about the console, because it's been pretty revolutionary, numbers wise, performance, titles. You know, it's definitely been like the first of its kind in a lot of ways. So I'm really hoping to kind of touch on some of that. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody again for a 3rd time for watching, and come back soon for more from the game room.